and this is the first round, and we are at Trial Mountain. Now, we have got, in terms of commentary, it's not going to have a certain sort of... I'll be commentating on post-coms, but we'll also have Darren, Idle for Gaming. Don't forget to subscribe to him, who will be also streaming the live stream. So if he can't make it, I'll then do a post-com stream. So yeah, if he can't do the live streams on the day, I'll do a post-com stream a couple of days after, hopefully before Sunday, because obviously Sunday I'll be live streaming, or the Sundays I will be live streaming the Civic Cup until that comes to its conclusion. So MVP Racing, the first round of the Endurance of the Americas, and yeah, it's going to be a good one, I think. Let's sort of see how things go. Sorry about that. Phone going off. That's an IOD will start. Let me just share the stream quickly to Facebook, so anyone can join in. Obviously, you can watch from the start, but let me just quickly share this onto Facebook, and we can get this underway. We've got the grid on the right hand side there. So I think it's almost time. I think it's time to get this underway. Right, so yeah, here is the grid. Then we've got Splash, KB, Addy. I'll probably completely botch that, but there. Is that the grid? I don't think that's the grid. No, I don't think that's the grid. We'll see the grid. There we go. Right, okay. So let's just quickly pause this. So let's right, okay, so we've got Boskov on pole position. There we go. That's better. Boskov on pole position. We've got Splash, Nagy, Addy, I think. Then we got MVP Pants, Ickle Pants, XR Groot, MVP Deno, LS Deno, MVP KB E36. Then we got Brian. I'm not going to try and pronounce that because I'll pronounce that wrong. We got Dixon, Stu Shelton, and Sparrow or TKM Spadders. So we get ready for the 5 red lights to go out. Engine notes rise here, and we are racing here for the 60-minute first of 60 minutes, and it's a good start there from Boskov, and Addy looks like he's got a good run here, and he's looking towards the inside of Splash as we head towards the first corner. Nagy also going around the outside, and has actually done both of them around the outside. What a good start from Nagy, going around the outside. We've got Splash in third, fourth is Addy. Then we got Groot, who's a little bit laggy there. We've got Pants there in the BMW. We've got KB, Dixon, Sparrow there going for a challenge there on Brian. He's managed to get through. We've got Deno, who's dropped down the field. Stu Shelton looks like he's disconnected, unfortunately, but as they now head to at the end of the first section, we've got the side-by-side there, Dixon, and that is MVP Pants, and Dixon's got bar on Pants, and now Sparrow trying to get involved as well. TK Spadders looking down the outside, you need to spot him in the purple car. We've got KB, who's got off to a dreadful start. He dropped down into ninth. It's actually TK Spadders looks like he's had one of the better starts as he's on the 6th street, looking towards the inside, but pulls back into the 6th street. And we've got side by side, that is Splash and Addy coming into the hairpin, breaking downhill. No move further back, but Addy could not, or managed to hold on to Splash there, but it is Boskov that leads the way here as he heads into this right-hander as they're going to drop down the hill, as we are on board here with Boskov as he goes through this really tight hairpin, and now coming toward the final couple of corners here. So Boskov, then we've got Nagy, Addy, Splash and Groot, Dixon, is now starting to stretch his leg against MVP Pants and TKM Spallard. We've got KB in behind, so they now drop down the hill. There's still a couple of drivers laggy. That was Dixon looking like he was lagging about a little bit there. There is Group though in fifth spot. AXR doing quite well in fourth and fifth, but it is the EGT SH guys that are first, second and third, with Boskov leading the way for them. It's Porsche 1-2 with a Mercedes 3, 4 and 5, with the Toyota in 6th, and then we've got Pants in the oh, that's wide there. Who's that? That's Groot. Groot's gone for a spin. He must have gotten damaged there. He's gone for a spin, and I've just realised we've also got tyres to deal with. Brian's had a moment as well, but Groot and Brian both have had a moment there. As we've got Sparrow there, or Spadders on the back of Pants, who had a little bit of a wobble there. But so both Brian and Groot having a moment. We now sort of start to spread out, and we'll now let me just quickly get all the info up so we can see what tyres people are running. So Boskov on the racing medium, we've got Nagy on the mediums as well, Addy on the mediums, hards for Splash, Dixon is on the mediums, Pants is on the hards, Spadders is also on the hards, KB on the hards, LS Deno on the hards, Groot is also on the hards, Brian is on the hards. So everyone on the hards apart from the Hungarian drive clan, the IGTSH, all of them are on the mediums, but everyone else all on the hards here, as KB is looking for a way by here on TKM Spadders. We now go on board with him. The red Porsche chasing down the purple Mazda as they now head towards turn 1 here. Sparrow, TKM Spadders is looking very close here to MVP Pants, and KB looks like they're all just happy just to sit behind each other. Oh, Sparrow looking for all TKM Spadders. Oh, TKM Spadders is wide there, and this is not a good moment here from Spadders. Oh, he's gone round. Spadders is round, and that is not what he would have wanted there. I think he just got a little bit put off there from Equal Pants, and that has lost KB actually a little bit of time, because he got a little bit caught up in that. I don't think there was any contact between them, but he just got a little bit held up behind them. But now looking as if we might go into a bit of a depth well period here, because everyone's very, very spread out. But a little bit of damage on Spadders' car, but he's going to continue on, I am sure. Boskov and Nagy are actually starting to close up a little bit, the two Porsches. As they head through the long hairpin, trying to take up as much track as possible. Boskov goes purple, but I don't know if Nagy was faster. They are starting to close up here. And what I'm quite happy to see is all of these drivers do have different liveries, because that would make things very difficult. I'm talking to you, AXR guys. At least there isn't 4 of you, but yeah, all these guys have different liveries, so it is a lot easier to spot them. And actually, they have 3 different cars there. As Splash is also under pressure from Dixon as they head into the final couple of corners, but Dixon obviously on the softer tyres here. He's still looking a little bit laggy in the Toyota, but we do go on board with him in the slipstream of Splash. Does Splash decide to cover it, or is he just going to yield? It looks like he might just yield. AXR Splash is not going to cover it, and Dixon looking towards the inside here into turn 1 and gets the job done. So Dixon up into P4. Splash dropping into 5th, but obviously he's on the harder tyres, and this is now what you guys are seeing here. This is obviously not a problem with the Obby particularly, I don't think. But I think just obviously Gran Turismo 7 is reasonably new, and there's still a couple of bugs and etc, etc. And I think it's just very laggy at the moment. But right, let's look to the front here as Nagy. He's within slipstream range of Boskov, which he might just decide to stay in this range, or he might just try and fuel safe. or will he try and attack? They are very, very similar. On fuel lever is a slightly shallower line there from Nagy, but he dropped in a little bit wider there. So he's not going to get quite as much release, but saying that, he does go purple to the second sector. But he is putting on a lot of pressure here from Boskov, and will Boskov slip that as we head down the hill into this hairpin? And they're managing to keep it nice and tidy at the moment, but the pressure is being built here between the two drivers. They head into the final couple of corners, and this is a very sort of stop and start couple of corners. It's like the track's got a very nice flow and it's reasonably high speed, and those two you just also have to just stop for. But Boskov leads the way. Addy is sort of in a bit of no man's land in third. Dixon has now got past Splash and is trying to shake Splash, but Splash is not dropping away, which is good for Splash's race because he can save a little bit of tyres and a little bit of fuel in the slipstream. Then we've got MVP Vance and KBE36, or Ickle Vance and KBE36. They head through the first sector, and KB is actually caught onto the back of MVP Pants as they now head under the bridge. But doesn't look like KB is really trying to attack at the moment, as there we go. Ellis Steno is in a bit of no man, so too is Groot, Brian, and then we've got Tig and Spadders. So let's look at the front, because it looks like this is the closest battle at the moment. But we'll also keep an eye on MVP Pants and MVP KBE36 or KBE36 or Ickle Pants, whatever. But Boskov is under real pressure. Is Nagy looking towards the inside, and is he going to go for the move here? They're going to be side by side through the hairpin. They might be teammates, but they are not. They are not going to work together. Is Nagy looking toward the inside? Can he get the job done? Yes, he does. So Nagy back up in, or gets into the lead here and takes it away from Boskov. But Boskov will not take this line down. But that was a... Oh! No, he will, because he spun it! He spun it on the exit. Oh, round goes Boskov. He clipped the grass on the outside there, and he's dropped him. He's got a lot of damage. He's got damage on every single corner apart from his left rear. And also front and rear bumper damage as well. So he's going to drop him, have a bit of a lack of pace for a couple of laps. But he's now dropped into third. Nagy takes the lead. Addy, I don't know if I'm still pronouncing that wrong or not, is in second. Dixon is still not able to shake Splash, and as we look, to be honest, Splash is still using more fuel than Dixon here, but yeah, he still can't shake him, which is going to be crucial for Splash's strategy here, because I don't think Splash is going to try and pass, but he's got that extra little bit of selection, which will just help his pace a little bit. In these GT3 cars, you're not going to lose too much from Dercier, and as long as you don't get too close, you shouldn't really be put off. And sometimes it is easier following someone than pushing your own air. But was that wide there from Dixon? It looked like he got a bad release there, and Splash is in the slipstream here. I don't think he's going to make the opportunity, but Dixon looks like he was trying to break the slipstream, and actually behind us we have got KB has now passed MVP Pants. So KB is now second of the hard tyre runners. But Splash here, he's just sitting, he looks like he's just happy just to stick behind Dixon here, whereas we're now going to go on board with him, on board in the Mercedes, and we're going to drop down the hill here. This is so much fun. When you drop down the hill, you've got to spot the braking hard, and you just don't want to drop it too far wide. That was right on the limit there, because that is what Boskov did just a lap ago, is he dropped it a little bit too far wide, stuck a wheel on the grass, and then he was round, and obviously he doesn't want to be ending up doing that. But Splash looks very happy just to sit here in the slipstream and just... He's not saving fuel in terms of revving, he's still maxing out the revs, but he's going to have a little bit of extra pace, and actually that also means he might not have to attack the corners quite as much to actually get the... and that was actually very nice and smooth actually there from Splash as we're following Dixon. Dixon a little bit wide there. He clipped a wheel on the grass. He manages to keep it in a straight line. But that was right on the leaning edge there for Dixon. As we now head... That is a very awkward corner. If you're standing a little bit too late there for that right hand, you're just going to get nowhere near the apex because the track drops away through the corner. So if you turn in too late, you're just going to be stuck on where the track's dropping away there. And again, a lot of these corners you have to turn in a lot earlier than you might think, just due to the gradients of the track. And you've just got to try and use the gradients of the track to your advantage. But Splash seems very happy just to sit here in 5th. But while we're at it, let's go on board with our race leader and also the fastest lap holder. We'll go on board onto this camera and we'll talk you through the lap when we get there. So we've got 2 more corners left to go and then we shall talk you through the lap. Braking down into first gear here. And obviously you've got braking and acceleration data there as well. So you can see exactly what Nagy's doing in terms of gear, acceleration, braking. So we now come towards first corner, and this first sector is all about making sure you keep it nice and tidy. If you're too scrappy, it will end up, and it's looked like that was just a slight lift. I didn't actually pay much attention to it, but I think it was just a slight lift, and now it's just all about ferrying that throttle through the rest of the sequence, just so it sort of keeps nice and stable. And around this left hand, you don't want to let it drop. You want to watch it over the brow there, because the rear can usually snap on you over the brow. And you've got to turn it nice and early, make sure you tip that apex on the inside and get on the power as early as possible. This right hand is an awkward one. If you get on the power too early, you've got to delay your power, because it just starts to understeer right. Then you sort of get it to the left hand side, then swing it through this left hander. Get it to the right hand side, so swing it through the left hander, straight up and get on the power as early as possible for this stupidly long straight. So Nagy is now going to come down this stupidly long straight. He's revving out the engine, so he's not really saving that much fuel. Not that he needs to in the Porsches. The braking nice and late. Got to turn in early so you don't miss the apex there. That was nicely done there from Nagy. Using all the road and then getting it as far to the left hand side so you can straighten these 2 corners up. Braking on the left hand curve there, and then an early apex, and then trying to keep it in nice and tight. Run it to the exit curve, dropping down the hill, hard on the brakes again, chuck it in, and that's actually probably a little bit wider than Nagy would have wanted, but he manages to keep it on the circuit. So we now come towards the last corner, and I sort of looked for the grass verges on the right hand side there. It's very difficult to see in the dark, but in these conditions you can actually see the sort of grass, and that's sort of the braking marker point. Down the first, then up into second, through the gears, and coming to the line for Nagy's lap. And actually, speaking of which, we now got Splash in. Splash is in from the hard tyres. Now, what does he decide to go? That is the question. I think, by the looks of things, he might be the only one. Nope, Groot is also in as well. So, teammates matching each other. Anyone else deciding to pop in this lap? Not by the looks of things, although... I think TK Spatters is actually pulling back even further, so he's obviously having a bit of a torrid race there in the purple Mazda. But Splash going to be giving a bit of a splash of fuel. I'm sorry, that was really bad. Groot obviously also changing, and Spatters is also in. So Spatters is also in from the hard tyre. So let's have a look. What is Splash going to be on? He's on the mediums. Okay, Groot, what will he go on? So Spatters is still yet to go. So Groot also going to probably max out the fuel. And he is going to be on the mediums as well. There is Tegan Spatters. And what will he go on as he fuels up? Let's just have a look through the rest of the pack here. So Boskov is actually closing in on Addy, so we've got to keep an eye on that battle for the future. Did TK Spatters come out? He's coming out now, so let's see what he's got on. I'm going to say, yeah, medium, so batters on the mediums. But yeah, Boskov is actually closing on his teammate here, so it'll be interesting to see what happens between these two. I'm going to have a look at the live chat, see what we've got. Just people saying good evening to all you watchers now. Pants and KB and Ellis Deno all into the pits, but interestingly enough, Deno and Pants has actually saved a little bit of fuel here, where everyone else have gone all guns blazing. And KB is all... oh, no, sorry. Got that wrong. Brian isn't in as of yet, and I think he's the only one from the hard tyre runners that have yet to hit. So, let's have a look at this battle for second here. Addy and Boskov, not far between the two of them. So they drop down the hill and now onto this nice long straight here. And I really wish we had the integrals here, because that would be so useful here. But we're going to go on board here with Addy, and we're going to be looking back as we can see Boskov just in the distance there. So we now drop into this high-speed hairpin, to be honest. It's second gear corner, and it can be nice and early, just due to the gradient of the corner. It can be nice and early on the power here. And we can just see, just in the background there, we've got Boskov just in the background, and he is edging in by the looks of things, because it definitely wasn't this close before, but it's been a bit of time. So we are 18.5 minutes in as of yet, so we've still got a bit of time to go. We're not even a third of the way into the race yet. Obviously we've still got 2 pit stops to go for the drivers who have already pitted, and the top 4 still have another, top 5 still have another 2 pit stops to go. But a lot of the drivers decided to get rid of the worst tyres first thing. No one, interestingly enough, decided to go out all guns blazing on the racing softs. So Addy is being edged in by Boskov, but he's only being edged in here. The number 31, but it might not be long until Boskov is within striking range of his teammates. But at the moment it looks like no one can catch race leader Nagy. Maybe Boskov can get involved later in the race, but it's still a long way to go, and Nagy can also make a mistake. So the other thing is, actually he has made a mistake, because I can see, if you look at the bottom left there, he does have damage, does Nagy. It has now cleared, so I'm not sure what would have happened. I think it might have just clipped a wall in the first sector, because it's very easily done. Because in the first sector the walls are nice and tight, so it's very easy just to turn it a little bit too early. The number 92, but it is all cleared, so all over now. We've got Addy and Boskov, Dixon there as well. That was actually very wide there from Boskov, but he is now within striking range of second place. So braking hard into the left-hander and into the final corner, up through the gears now, and let's see, can Boskov challenge Addy? He's actually getting out the slipstream here, so that is very interesting. Is he just trying to get in the mirrors of Addy, or is he just trying to just say, look, I'm putting out your slipstream, I'm not too bothered on passing you at this stage. The car getting a bit light there through the first sector. It's very, very easy to get it too light and then end up losing the car, as we've seen a couple of times. We did see Groot lose it through that section, turning it nice and early there. Boskov will wait until the back straight, and then we'll look back further down the field. But Boskov, I don't think is going to be able to challenge this lap around, not down the back straight either, and I don't think he's got a good enough run there, because Addy absolutely nailed that corner. And I don't think the straight line speed of the 911 is strong enough to be able to challenge, especially not from this far back. So let's look down the field. So we got Dixon in 4th, and he really is in a bit of no man's land. Can't seem to keep it tonight with his 3 teammates. He'll be back though, I'm sure, to be able to challenge them in the future races. We've got Brian still yet to pit on his racing cars. Then we got Splash, who is the lead driver on the racing, who has pitted. KB, who's not too far behind Splash. So this could get interesting towards the end, because obviously these two are going to be on the charge, because they both have the softer rubber to put on. So both Splash and KB have to go on the charge. Obviously Nagy, Addy and Boskov, and also Dixon still also have to run the hard tyres, where all of those 2 drivers have as well, and maybe Pants and Deno can get involved as well. We've got Groot there, who's running in 10th spot. Who is he going to start to close up? He's racing on the racing mediums, but interesting enough, he's burned through a lot more fuel than the 2 drivers in front. So I guess he's going to have to be careful. He doesn't want to burn through those tyres and burn through that fuel too quickly. And he doesn't want to have too little fuel to be able to challenge on the soft tyres in the end. We don't want to have to pit for too long. That's the thing is, yes, you can do all the hard work, speed up to the back of the drivers in front and create an advantage. But as soon as you come in and then have to spend another 6 seconds in the pit stops, then you lose that advantage. So it's a balancing act, to be honest. And we've got Tiken Spadders, who is there in the brilliant sounding Mazda, but so far for him, this is definitely a race to forget. I do apologise. Boskov has passed Addy. I don't know where, I don't know when, but he is through on Addy, and I'm completely sorry that I missed that. Boskov is through into 2nd, and I'm guessing it was down the back straight, but Addy has now dropped into 3rd. Let's have a look at tyre wear, because Nagy has got a lot of front right, Boskov has not got quite as much. Addy actually has damage. He's just repaired that, so maybe that's something to do with it. But he is now in the slipstream of his teammate. Will he be close enough to challenge into turn 1? No, he won't. I was getting excited, but too much there. He's not going to be able to challenge this time around as he comes through the sector. You've got to be careful there. He's wide. Addy is wide. He manages to keep it in a straight line. Oh, that was so good. Oh no! Oh, Addy! Oh, that's a bit of a hard spin there, and manages to keep it going. Manages to keep out the wall as well. But that was a great save there from Addy from further damage. He's really obviously dropping off the cliff, so I think we might see him in this lap. Brian has also come in on his hard tyres. He's done an enormous stint on his hards, to be fair to him, and he is now dropped into, well, it's still not fully come in, so we'll come to that later. But Boskov into 2nd place. There we got Nagy, we got Spadders there just in front of us as well, but Addy manages just to keep it out the wall there, and that really was, and I think his rear tyres have just dropped off the cliff. He's 5 point, I know he had the moment. He didn't lose 5.5 seconds from that, so I think he really is struggling with the car. So I would not be surprised to see him pit at the end of this lap. We'll see him through this corner. Will he dart to the left-hand side of the track? Boskov is. Addy actually carries on. So he is going to try and drag these mediums for another lap, which I think is interesting, especially after the near-death experience he just had. But Boskov is now coming towards the pits. Here he is. So change of tyres, what will he go on? He's the first of his team to change tyres. He's now refueling, and we shall see soon what he's on. But let's have a look down the rest of the action. Splash and KB. Splash has got a bit of an advantage on KB, so I don't know if KB is going to be able to challenge Splash for position unless there's any mistakes from Splash. We got Pants in the BMW, LS Steno in the Lexus. Chasing him down is Groot in the Mercedes. Obviously he'll probably be kicking himself because he did have a moment on lap 2 or 3 under the bridge, and obviously he will not be happy with himself after that. And he is chasing down LS Steno, but look at the fuel difference. The thing is, if he passes them in the gaps, he's going to have to gap LS Steno a decent amount with the fuel loads that they've got on board to even be able to be close. Now, Boskov is on the hards now, so his last stint will be on the softs. Okay, Nagy is now in from the lead. Look at his front right, it's almost dead, and Addy is in as well, so we'll see once they've pitted. Is Dixon in? Look at his right rear. How is he actually going around corners with that right rear? Oh, big moment there from Tickers. Badders drifting, kicks it out the wall. Right, Groot and Deno. Groot has caught MVP Deno and is now going to look to challenge. We are on board with Groot now. Slightly different lines there. It looked like Groot was taking a bit of a shallower line there coming into that corner than Deno. Deno sort of, and again, shallower line from Groot. Again, Nagy, right, okay, that's interesting. Nagy is on the softs and Boskov has jumped him. That is major news. Right, okay, Addy is on the hards, but Nagy is on the softs, but Nagy has been jumped by his teammate Boskov, and now with a tyre differential. That's interesting. They haven't all gone the same strategy here, but yeah, now we've got the tyre differential. Now, surely with this situation with the tyres, there is no way that Nagy is going to be held up by Boskov, because Boskov has reasonably cold. I know they've done a lap, but reasonably cold, hard tyres, and is now going to be under pressure down the back straight here from Nagy. Let's go on board with Nagy as they come towards the first corner, and he's going to be slipstreaming up. He's going to go for it into this left-hander. Boskov is going to defend to the inside, but then goes back to the outside. He's down the inside, goes Nagy. He doesn't go too wide. Boskov's going to try and get the switch back, but he can't quite get it done. Nagy takes the net lead back, but they are on different strategies. So Nagy could come back to Boskov in the closing stages when they swap roles. But Nagy actually has some front left damage and some bumper damage as Dixon is now in to the pits. I thought someone had gone a bit wide there on that corner, but they managed to keep it in a straight line. But that was good outlap actually there from Boskov, or a bad outlap from Nagy, because obviously Boskov has jumped. Ah, that's why. Fuel loads, that will be why. Never mind, I was talking rubbish. Look at the front right on Dixon's car. How on earth could he keep the car going with that front right? But fair play to him. He's managed to keep it out the wall, and he's got the most money out of that fuel tank as he possibly can, and certainly the most money out of the tyres that he could, as he now will go on to a set of hards or soft. Let's have a look what we are going to go out on. That is the soft tyres, so a splash and dart for Dixon, as he's going to now do some flying laps to try and chase down Groot, Deno and Pants, or Equal Pants. Groot is still just not far behind LS Steno, so we'll go on board with him here. He's chasing down MVP Deno. We've got another comment in, so we'll have a look what you guys are saying. I didn't say anything. I didn't swear at all there. Yeah, so Groot not far behind MVP Deno here, but as we now come towards the hairpin here, but Dixon is going to be someone to keep an eye on here because he's on faster tyres here. He's going to be he's going to be chasing these two down like a stab rat, especially if these two start to get right in the thick of the battle here. Again, Deno has a lot more fuel volume. We now go on board with Deno as he now drops down the hill here, keeping it nice and tight through that right-hander. Just trying to keep the rhythm going. That's what the thing with endurance races is all about, just holding a rhythm here and just not losing the rhythm and not making mistakes, because those mistakes can be costly. Obviously you lose time on mistakes, but you also lose and it actually looks like MVP Pants has actually come towards MVP Deno. But yeah, obviously you also get damage from those mistakes, and then once you get did all of a sudden Deno get a full? Anyway, you get damage from those mistakes, and that will also lose you further time from that damage. So now into the left-hander here, and Deno just trying to keep it nice and consistent over the brow. Then again, the rear just stepping away. And if it's stepping away on an FR car, it's probably a little bit more on the edge on the Porsches, because obviously those are MR cars, and also you've got to bear in mind as well wait, it's the Honda also. Obviously got the Honda, is it the Honda? Sorry, the Toyota as well. Pretty sure that is an MR car as well, and also the Mazda is also an MR car, so that will be losing it over the brow as well, I am sure. But down into the hairpin, Addy holding fourth, and well, actually Splash has jumped in the pits, Addy. However, fuel loads are different, so we don't know when the final pit stops have arisen where these two are going to stand, because obviously Splash is now going to be extending his gap to Addy in behind, but also he's going to have to put in more fuel for the final stint. So it's really is just a massive game of chess in this stage, because we don't quite know where people are, because everyone's got completely different fuel loads in, so we don't know how much time they have in hand compared to everyone else. Obviously KB in the opposing end compared to Splash has a lot more fuel compared to Splash, so he's going to actually be closer to Splash than what is showing at the moment on the track. So Nagy holds the lead for EGT-SH, and Boskov on the hards there holding second. But obviously Boskov has a lot less fuel involved, so he can even be even further back. But then he's going to be on the softs, and Nagy's going to be on the hards, so Nagy's going to be dropping back like a stone. So it's we really don't know who's going to be up ahead in this situation. Obviously Boskov wanted to try and hold up Nagy as much as possible on the softs. He couldn't do it for very long, of course, because Boskov will be racing Nagy towards the end of the race when he's trying to chase him down. So if he can delay Nagy now, or if he could have done, then he's then going to have less time to have to catch up. Splash in third is now catching Boskov. Now this is where it gets interesting, because they have very similar fuel loads, does Splash and Boskov. Splash has softer tyres, but they both need to go on the same tyres for the final stint. So these two are for true position here. Now I'm sure that both of these drivers will be running till the end of their fuel life. So this is going to be the closest battle on track. But also we've got Addy and KB as well. That's going to be a close battle to watch on track as well, which is literally the battle directly behind us. Groot and Deno still nose to tail here, with Dixon closing these two in like a stabbed rat on the soft tyres. So Groot is a lot lower on fuel than Deno, and is caught up to the back of Deno. But obviously it's just going to hurt him under the pit stop phases. So yeah, it really is just a fact of, do you save fuel or do you go for it? It doesn't. Who knows? That is the question. It depends on the circuit. It depends on the circumstances. Splash. How is he looking to Boskov? Well, it's still a decent gap. We're actually the closer battle is Addy and KB in 4th and 5th. But obviously Groot is on the back, and I'm going to go on board with LS Deno, looking back at Groot. So as we now go onto the back straight here, looking back at Groot. Now, Groot seems like he just is happy at the moment just to sit here, but he is closing in the slick shimmy, Groot, at the moment. Can Groot make the move into the corner? He's looking towards the inside here as we now head into the hairpin. I managed to catch this at the right time for once, and down the inside goes Groot and takes 7th spots. Groot up into 7th, then Deno drops to 8th, but fuel loads difference is massive here at the moment. So if they both were to pit and then go to the end, Deno would then end up being ahead of Groot. So that's what we've got to keep an eye on here, because also Pants as well, they're in 6th spot. It has also got a massive fuel advantage, but if you look at the fuel gauge, it's almost quarter of a tank between the two of them. And then we've got Dixon there closing on the soft tyres, but Dixon still has to go on the hard, so he might close up on the softs, which he is doing very, very quickly. But then he has to then suffer the pain in the last stint on the hard tyres. So let's go up the field and let's have a look. Here we got KB, who is not too far behind Addy, and this is the position, ladies and gentlemen. Again, just like the battle with Boskov and Splash, we'll also look, and I can see on the map on the top right there that they're not quite close enough for a battle here between Boskov and Splash. So we'll just keep an eye on Deno versus Dixon, but also on this battle here, because KB is edging in Addy, and the MVP driver, the MVP admin, so one of our admins here at MVP Racing, is trying to challenge and try and get himself involved with a battle maybe for a podium here, because Addy, before the pit stops, apologies about that, we keep seeming to have phone calls at the moment. Yes, so KB, so Addy was actually in a podium position just before the pit stops here. Obviously Splash has looked like he might have jumped him, but obviously this is one driver, so this will be a net P4, and all he'll need is wait, hold on, what the hell has happened to Nagy? Wait a second, Nagy's dropped into 3rd. Nagy was not in 3rd, he has dropped down the field. Boskov's got the lead back, who was in 2nd, Splash was in 3rd. I have only just realised that, but Nagy is dropped into 3rd, so he must have had a mistake somewhere. He is on the gearbox, and then down the inside of Splash. Splash doesn't fight him too hard, but he knows he's going to have the softer tyres. Because at the moment, Splash is on the mediums, Nagy is on the softs. But so Splash will have the soft tyres compared to Nagy's hards in the last stint, so actually Splash will not be panicking too much, but somewhere along the line I'm pretty sure Nagy has made a mistake somewhere, and on the soft tyres there, Boskov is almost out of fuel, so he just has one soft stint to the end to do, so we've got about 20 minutes to go on the softs. Obviously Splash and Nagy will be closing him soon, but Boskov will probably be in at the end of this lap. Dixon is now passed on Deno, so it's all kicked off on this last couple of laps. Dixon's through on Deno. Oh, okay. MVP Pants has dropped down the field, so he must have had some sort of incident here. I've missed something there again. I think Brian has also now retired as well, because he is no longer inside the field. Right. In goes, who was that? Boskov and Splash are both in, and they'll be going to on the soft tyres to the end. Right, okay, so these two are going to be having a bit of a grandstand finish, these two. who is gonna. So Boskov will be leading the way here. KB is also in, but we've got to bear in mind here, both of them, both KB. KB has less fuel to fuel up. So we've got Splash in, Boskov in. Groot is also in, so he's going to go on the softs, and KB. So where are these guys going to come out? Obviously, Nagy needs to go onto the hard, so he has got a lot of work to try and do on the rest of his fuel to try and get as big of an advantage as possible here, because he's going to have the hard to go onto the ends. And Addy is going to he's just got to, he'll probably be in soon, to then go to the softs to the end. But let's have a look where we are at. So we got Boskov there. Splash has jumped Boskov in the pit stop, but Boskov has picked up a penalty. He's picked up a 3-second penalty. The only thing I can think of is crossing the pit lane exit or entry line. So he's picked up a 3-second time penalty, and that is just going to hurt his race. Splash has jumped him in the pit stops. So, and well, unless Splash makes mistakes, I don't see Boskov making up 3 seconds. KB is now going to get involved here as well, as it looks like the chat is really popping off here. But KB is now going to be in a shout of actually getting onto the back of Boskov. Nagy and Addy will be in soon. Dixon also will be in reasonably soon. Obviously, he still has a little bit of life left of those soft tyres. We've got Deno and Pants here, very close between each other here as they go through the S's here and into the right hander, which will then drop down the hill. And will either of these two be in this at the end of this lap? Let's have a look. Deno is in, Pants stays out. So Deno is in. Now let's see where he comes out, because again he had a lot more fuel than his rival Groot. So let's see where he comes out, and obviously he now will go all guns blazing to the end to try and jump Dixon. So Deno is in, KB is there. Let's see where Boskov comes out after his penalty compared to KB. KB gets the job done on him. Boskov sorts into the slipstream, and now can he keep with KB? The flying German. He didn't have probably the qualifying that he was hoping for. I don't think he had much practice before this race, but now he's gotten fully up to swing and his pace is strong. I thought Boskov was wide there, but he wasn't. But in the box seat at the moment is Splash. MVP Pants still needs to pit, so too does Dixon, Nagy and Addy, but Nagy has the net race lead at the moment, but he has the hard to put on. So he's going to be defending like crazy to try and keep Splash, who is now net P2, and KB, who is net P3, and Boskov, who is net P4, who will all be on the hard tyres. Can he keep it out the wars? Addy hasn't been able to keep out the wars. He's got a lot of damage there, and he is now in. So he's now into the pit lane, and he's going to put on the soft tyres, and we're going to see where he comes out compared to everyone else. Oh dear. So all sort of starting to come down, sort of play out a little bit. Once everyone's in, we'll then know exactly where everyone is. So the only two people, or only three people that need to pit are Dixon, MVP Pants, and Nagy. Pants needs to go onto the soft, Dixon needs to go on the hard, and so too does Nagy. Let's see where Addy comes out in respect to everyone else on the soft tyres, because he's on the same strategy as everyone behind him. I don't think anyone is going to be on the hard or medium tyres. No. So Addy, this is his real position, and he comes out. Wait, hold on. Boskov has had another moment. He was on the back of KB. He's dropped back even further now, and he's fallen even further behind his teammate Addy. So Addy is there in a net P6. He's got a little bit more fuel than KB in front of him, but he's got a lot of time to make up if he can catch KB. So now obviously Dixon isn't in the battle for the front, so we're going to see where he comes out in comparison to Deno, Groot, and obviously Pants, who's behind him. But MVP Pants does have less fuel than Dixon, but obviously Dixon's going to have the hard tyres, so those two are going to be sort of switching roles. So Pants then going to be chasing down Dixon and trying to challenge. Nagy is in now. This is the important thing. Where does Nagy come out compared to Splash and KB? And Addy, obviously, as well. Because where he comes out is then just going to... obviously, it's going to show us what we got to expect for the rest of the race here. So he's going to be fighting on these hard tyres and putting on the fuel. Pants is also in. Dixon continues for another lap. So the 92 of Nagy is now going to exit the pits reasonably soonish. Now comes Nagy out the pits on the hard tyres. Where does he come out? He comes out just ahead of, just behind Dixon. So Dixon now holds the race lead, but there is Nagy and there is Splash coming up to the first corner. So there is a bit of time between the two of them, and Nagy has got the hard tyres and then he's now got to defend for the rest of the race. He's got just over 12 minutes to defend the guy, everyone who's on the soft behind. Now Pants comes out. He's going to be behind Deno, who he's actually jumped Groot on the pit stops, like I thought he said he would, just due to that fuel. Pants now comes out behind Groot, and they've got a lot more fuel, so he's going to be able to absolutely hammer it to the end. It's MVP Pants. We've got TK Spatters there, who really hasn't had the best of times here, as we now start to get a little bit darker there. The sun is starting to get a bit lower, the lights are starting to come on, and it's starting to come to the closing stages of the race. So what we've got now is we've got Pants, who is now trying to chase down Groot. Obviously Groot will also has that damage for someone. I didn't see who had the damage, but the big one is as that is Dixon in to the pitch from his soft tyres, and he now is going to drop into position somewhere. Let's see where he ends up down the field, and then it's basically a race to the end between Nagy and Splash. Well, Nagy and whoever ends up catching him can just make a massive roadblock for everyone else behind him. We're coming into the last 10 minutes of the race, and it seems like we might have a bit of a grandstand finish here. Nagy certainly does not have this in the bag by all means. Splash is chasing him like a stab rat, so too will be KB, and sure, Addy will be as well, and I'm sure Boskov. But it's just going to be about how many people will be able to catch Nagy on those hard tyres when everyone else is on the racing softs with the 10 minutes that remain. Dixon now comes out behind MVP Deno, but ahead of Groot. But of course, Groot is on those racing softs. So Groot will be now chasing Dixon down like mad to try and chase down. Obviously, Dixon is on the hard, Groot is on the soft, Pants is also on the softs. Nagy versus Splash. They are starting to get close here. And let's go on board as night starts to fall here at Trail Mountain here in the US of A. Splash has not got much between himself and Nagy. The race win is in his side, but he doesn't want to waste too much time because not too far behind is KB. And obviously there is only 9 minutes left to go. Obviously that's still quite a few laps. But you don't want to waste too much time because those tyres will also start to drop off as the race goes on. But I don't see his tyres being any better, being any worse at any point here than Nagy's on the hard tyres. But Nagy is going to now have to defend for his life. So Nagy, looking like he's actually got a little bit more straight line speed here in Splash as they head into turn 1. So onto the back straight now, and can slipstream and also the extra tyre grip give Splash the run into the hairpin at the end of this straight. He pulls out the slipstream, they're going to be side by side into the hairpin. KB will be able to be watching this and be able to see what's happening. But it is now dark and we're not able to see at the moment, but Splash is not able to make it through at the moment, but he gets the switch back, but he's doing a lot of stuff on the outside, and he just pulls in just behind here. Groot has actually, other news, Groot has got past Dixon, so Groot is up into 7th, but this is the battle here for the lead. We're not going to come off these guys, because this is very, very exciting indeed. We're going to go on board with Maggie to look back at AXR Splash as we head towards the end of this race. And end of this lap, we've got just over 7 minutes to go here as Splash onto the braking grip closes up onto the back of Nagy. And actually now as the car starts to get a bit closer, the lag is starting to come back. I thought we left the lag at the start of the race, but it doesn't seem like it's gone anywhere. Stupid Gran Turismo, but we now come towards the first corner. Obviously Nagy is nowhere near his optimum pace because he's on those hard tyres. He's just got to try and keep it clean and consistent and try and get the best possible runs on the corners that count. Obviously Splash is looking like he's really struggling to actually make this an overtake here, even considering the massive tyre deficit, or maybe just Splash is just taking his time a little bit here. But obviously the longer this goes on, the closer and closer that KB is getting, as we can see his lights just in the background here. But yeah, there is KB there, just there in third spot. We can see the two just in front of us actually, battling in front. Splash versus Nagy. We now go on board with Splash as he's looking towards the outside here. They're going to be side by side into the hairpin once again. Who's going to get the whole shot? Splash, can he outbrake around the outside? Yes, he can. Splash is into the lead, and surely Nagy's not going to have a response now. Surely it's game over for the lead, unless Splash makes any sort of... Oh, I thought Nagy was looking for the lead there. Couldn't get the job done. But with the tyre deficit now, surely it's just game over for Nagy. The hard tyres is definitely no match for the softs. And Nagy is just going to have to sort of take it on the chin and take second place. Splash just needs to try and keep it clean now, because Nagy is now going to be having to revert his defence to the chasing KB. The German is on a flyer here in third position, and he's there in fourth. Then we've got Boskov, Deno, Roots, Pants, and Dixon has now dropped into the night spot on his hard tyres. He's actually got damage as well on the front. Pants is actually looking like, is he going to close on Groot? We'll have to look at that at a later date. Groot is actually quite low on fuel here. That is very, very low compared to... Oh, so no, that's Dixon. Dixon's quite low on fuel. Oh, Pants is just very high on fuel. Never mind. Right, KB versus Nagy. We'll also just keep an eye out for the battle for 7th and 8th as well, because that might get a little bit spicy as well. But KB has got just under 6 minutes to close up on Nagy. And that was a long time to talk with yourself. We're now going on board with KB, and Nagy is really not leaving much on the table there. He was right to the edge of the track there, and one mistake, one put in a whip too wide. That is his race over and done with. That is second place out the window and maybe even the podium out the window. It is not far to go here. We've just got over 3.5. We've got 3.5 minutes left to go in this race, and we're obviously going to finish that lap as well. And KB is on the back now. The other thing is, Splash was in a different car to Nagy. Now I don't know how the power deficit is between the Splash and Nagy's car. Between the Porsche and Mercedes. But this is Porsche versus Porsche, so the engine is the same thing. Fuel level, Nagy's got a little bit more fuel than KB, but obviously, yeah, as that was very wide there actually from Nagy, and KB got very close to getting alongside on the exit there, out of the tunnel. Let's look back quickly before we head under the bridge. We've got Group there, who is still a decent amount of margin here, so he might just about hold on to Pants. But let's go back to these two at the front. And KB has got a good run here. He pulled to the left-hand side, and actually we've got Addy there in the background. He's not far behind. Neither two is Boskov. So KB looking toward the outside here. They're going to be side by side into the hairpin. Nagy, KB trying to pull through. He's almost side by side, but Nagy tries to outbrake him. He's going to surely drift out wide. He doesn't. He manages to hold on. No, he does drift out wide. They're now going to be side by side here. Into the left, right-hander, into the left. There's contact. There's a little bit of lag. Nagy goes wide. Does he hold on to it? No, he goes for a spin. Addy's going to head into fourth. Nagy's going to drop into fifth. And I've got to have a look at that again, because that was very interesting indeed. We'll pull it back. Side by side here, and well, Nagy tried it. KB was there, and he tried to give him a squeeze. That's very difficult to see from that angle. It's very difficult to see in the dark as well. Let's see if we can see on board. This is on board KB's point of view, and there wasn't really much KB could do from that point of view. But yeah, okay. So we go, continue. We'll fast forward it 10 seconds. KB's into second, Addy's into third, Boskov's into fourth, Nagy is fifth, Deno is sixth, Group is seventh, with some front end damage, and actually his fuel tank's not looking too great either. Pants is in 8th spot. We've got Dixon and Spadders. Now we can't actually see the amazing liveries now because it's so dark now, but Pants is actually really is closing here on Group. So into the last lap here, Splash has surely got the victory in the bag here because we've got a decent margin on KB. It all looks sort of set for the top 5 here. But here is the battle for 7th here. Group versus MVP Pants. On to the last lap here now. 1 to go. And Splash is looking like he's got the win in the bag, but now we're looking at the battle between the teammates, his teammate, and through goes MVP Pants on the inside. There's a little bit of contact, and actually MVP Pants has backed out of it there, but Group has got the inside line here. He's looking to go around the outside as MVP Pants, who does go. They're still side by side, and now we can't see much, but just headlights here into the right-hander. MVP Pants is still alongside. He's going to have the left-hand side corner. Can he get hold of the lead? Of 7th spot? Yes, he does. But now he's going to have to defend onto the back straight. We'll catch Splash before we get to the line here. But MVP Pants, let's see if we can catch these two before they get to the hairpin. I think MVP Pants has got it in the bag. Is Group going to try? Do you think? He's looking toward the inside. He brakes very late, and he's going to drift out wide. And Pants takes him back, but we now head towards the line here because it is win number 1 here for Splash. Splash takes the win in fine style. KB is going to come home in 2nd place. Addy knocks out the podium. Then we've got Boskov, Nagy with the tyre strategy on the hards, killing him at the end. He drops down into 5th. We've got MVP Deno, who's going to come home in 6th spot to the line. MVP Deno in 6th. Pants is going to come home into 7th spot to the line. And Dixon's got through on Groot. Dixon is through on Groot. Oh, that's why Groot is out of fuel. Pants in 7th. Dixon's going to come home in 8th. Groot is going to come home in 9th, and TK Spadders came home in 10th. And we had 2 retirements, and that is it. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you for Sunday's race on the Civics. And take it easy. See you then.